Ready.
Look alive, Patty. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brooks Knows Baseball. This is our fourth or fifth installment here. We're going to go over the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll just quickly take a look at the history of the Blue Jays. I know last year they did make the playoffs for 92 and 70 with they had two managers last year, actually, Charlie Montoyo and John Snyder. They finished second place in AL East, made it to the wild card, and then unfortunately for them and their fans, they lost to the Seattle Mariners. Before that, you would have to go back to the early to mid 90s. I don't know. Would you consider 93 mid 90s? I wouldn't. But you'd have to go to early 90s. Early 90s where they went back-to-back World Series, made three in a row, won two of them. But since then, they've only made the playoffs four times since 93, which is quite a barren streak if you do ask me. But they have made it two of the last 3 years. So the Blue Jays, Toronto's crown jewel. But John, I'll let you go ahead and jump right on into it. We can start talking about the team and give you guys the scoop on them.
Yeah, new additions. They got Dalton Varsho, an outfielder from Arizona. That's a good pickup. He's got some power. He's got speed. He was a former catcher. They got Kevin Kiermaier.
May have to disagree with you on that one.
About?
Dalton Varsho only hit 235 last year.
Okay. Let's just see who's right in the year. Hey, let me ask you this. Well, does he got more help around him this year?
Depends where he bats. So I'm looking at the projected lineup here, and you got Kiermaier in front of him, who's hit solid 228, and then they have Brandon Belt behind him, who hit 213.
A eighth or ninth hitter.
All right, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, okay. But Varsho, he's kind of a thick guy. Hit his 27 home runs last year. He was 99th percentile outs above average last year. Like I said, he's got some speed. But anyway, on to the next guy. They got Kiermaier. Old guy, been around for years with Tampa. Great fielder. Not much of a hitter. They got Eric Swanson, which I think is a underappreciated move. He was with Seattle, and looking at his numbers last year, he was in 57 games, 53 and 2/3 innings, a 1.6 ERA, and his WHIP was less than 1.91. So he's a big right-hander. Strikes out more than one per inning. Big pickup, under the radar pickup. I wish my favorite team would have got him. But I think their biggest pickup was Chris Bassett.
Brandon Belt.
No, not Brandon Belt. Not a big Belt fan. I mean, he's okay.
No, don't share. He hit 213 last
year. Okay, that's enough said. Okay, but Chris Bassett, very solid pitcher. Chris Bassett has consistently put up solid numbers, and I believe last year is the most innings he's thrown in a season.
181.
Yeah, so 181 2/3. The opponent's average exit velocity against him was 85. That's in the top 5% of starting pitchers.
15 wins too, 30 starts, and mid threes ERA, 3.4.
It's pretty much close to his career average, isn't it? I would imagine, without looking it up.
Yeah. He's firmly, I think, their number 3 guy, I would say.
But as we go into this team, Toronto, they're young. They're young, and they got a lot of star power, man.
Yeah. Well, before we even talk about a lot of those star power, I was looking at their bullpen. People are going to overlook their bullpen. One guy who might be a little wild card this year, he only played in 27 innings last year, is Hyunjin Ryu. People forget about him.
Yeah,
the portly pitcher from Korea.
Is his report, is he healthy?
I'm not sure. Hopefully, for their sake, he comes back, because he had 2 seasons back to back in 19 and 20 of Cy Young top 3 finishes.
Because
people forget he had an ERA going back to 2018 With the Dodgers, it was 1.9, 2.3, 2.6, 3 years in a row. Superstar numbers.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
he's there, but I don't know if he's going to be in the rotation because, with Manoah.
I don't think he's going to be in the
Well,
rotation, but I believe if he's healthy, he should definitely start over
Barrios or Kikuchi. Kikuchi's not good. He never has been good.
I would take Kikuchi out.
Yeah, I wouldn't even. Yeah,
Kikuchi, no.
he's the kind of guy that's liable to hurt them. Because I've seen him pitch numerous times, and I've never been impressed with him. Barrios died last
year. Barrios is getting too much money. He's not leaving the rotation.
Yeah, I know, but he led the league in hits against last year. He gave up 199 hits last year. He led the league in earned runs against last year. But the thing is, he's got 6 years left in his contract. Sorry, Toronto.
He bottomed out big time last year.
Yeah, they're going to have to get him turned around if they want to be good.
Yeah, or they're gonna have to eat that deal, but that's a tough one. But I didn't really expect to see that happen.
No,
I've always been a decent Barrios fan. He's worn this hat before, but
maybe it's an aberration.
I hope for his sake. He's a nice guy. Had a little interaction with him, but Whips, their back end of their start rotation, I think, could hurt them in the playoffs. I believe, if you have 3 strong ones in the playoffs, which we'll talk about if we think they're going to go to the playoffs in a minute, but having 3 solids and 2 pretty much throwaway starters,
yeah,
that's going to hurt them, especially in that division.
Unless Rue comes back.
Yeah, but looking at their bullpen, I'm going to give you 4 guys here. All right?
And I can give you 4 too that are good.
Well, let's see if we match up. I got Jordan Romano last year.
Romano
had a 2.1 ERA.
Yeah, he's good. Now, but let me ask you this. Yeah, well, let me ask you this, and he's a Canadian, so it's good for Toronto. Have you ever seen his windup? His butt almost touches the ground. I've never seen anything. And so, is that going to hurt him? Is he going to get away from all that goofy stuff he does with the pitch clock? Could.
Yeah, it could. I could definitely see that impacting him. Moving on from him, you got Tim Mesa, who had a 3.1 in 63 appearances last year, 2 saves. You got Anthony Bass, who in 28 appearances, it's only 25 innings, a very limited role, 1.7.
Hey, but when you say limited, he got traded. So overall, he was in 73 games last year with a 1.54 ERA.
Well, then you had Chad Green, who had 14 appearances for him last year with a 3.0 ERA. Even moving past him, you got Gimme Garcia, 61 appearances last year, 3.1. Adam Simber, 77 appearances last year, and a 2.8 ERA. And then Zach Pop, 17 appearances last year, had a 1.8.
Yeah, I'm a Pop fan.
Their bullpen
did you mention Yimi Garcia? Okay, and
yeah, it said 61 appearances. He even had a save last year.
And Swanson, like I said earlier.
So their bullpen's good.
Right. And you're hard pressed to find anywhere that's not good on that team. Now we move on to the catcher, Kirk.
I think as we open up here, and we'll go right down the line here. I think their biggest issue is going to be their back end offense of their offense. I think the back end's a little weak, and we'll get to that. But starting off, let's start at catcher with a little Mexican Alejandro Kirk, who hit 285 last year.
Yeah, big fella. Yeah, he like I said, he made his first All-Star appearance last year.
Certainly so.
They said he's 4th in pitch framing last year too, so with that helps, with the staff too. But pitch framing may be a dying art pretty soon, because if they go to this robotic umpiring or strikes and balls. But you know what I heard today? I don't know what I was watching, but they said that they don't think it's going to be a full-blown balls and strikes. There's still going to be an umpire back there, and it's only going to be a case where they'll have the robotic system for the balls and strikes, but it'll be a challenge system. Like football may get like 3 challenges, and that's it.
Well, let me speak on that a little bit, because I have good experience with the ABS, automatic balls and strikes. So everything the major league wants to test, they always test in the Florida State League. It's always how it's always been. When I was there, they had the bigger bases. They did the guys in second, I believe, first, and then they also did the automatic balls and strikes 2 years ago when I was in Fort Myers. And I didn't like it just due to the fact I feel like it really dragged the games out, especially in the low-level minor leagues. It's kind of tough. The guys don't pitch very well. They don't hit
Well, I
very well.
remember when you were
But
you were in the Florida State League there working. I remember the games just went on forever.
you would have I love baseball, but a 5-hour baseball game where there's 9 errors, 14 walks. There was a game, remember, it was like 14 walks.
Yeah, didn't you have a game? Yeah, was AAA though, wasn't it? Was that AAA game you had?
I think it was
Yeah,
AAA.
kept walking. There was hardly any hits. They just kept walk after walk after walk. Because I was actually listening to that game on the radio, actually, because you told me about it, so I turned it on.
Yeah, but the automatic balls and strikes, the umpire pretty much, he has a little, it's about the size of a cell phone in his pocket, in his back pocket, and when it's a strike, it vibrates. That's how he knows it's automatic balls and strikes. So I don't like it myself personally. I'm more of a traditionalist, if you want to say. But moving on back to the task at hand here, we'll go down to first base.
Catcher hit backup. You got you didn't mention Danny Jansen. Danny Jansen is he's been there for a long time. He's a good defensive player, good framer, excellent pitch framer. Yeah, he's a good backup because he's not much on the bat.
Yeah, and then we'll go to the always powerful perennial MVP vote getter, Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he only hit 48 home runs 2 years ago.
He
second
real
MVP, and a lot of his. Yeah, well, his defense really took off last year. He won his first Gold Glove, which honestly, reading that surprised me.
Well, when I said he had off year, I'm being sarcastic. He still had 32 home runs. I think 87 or 97 RBIs.
97 RBIs.
Yeah.
His batting average did drop though, 30 points. So maybe it's something to watch for. 40 points.
I seen an interview with him recently, and through a translator, obviously. But he mentioned he really wants to work on his consistency. And
does he speak French?
No,
he's from Canada, so he should speak French.
Oh, right? Yeah. Everybody speaks French in Canada, right?
Well, he's from Montreal.
Oh yeah, right. His dad played there, right? But no, he may speak it. I don't know. But in the interview, speaking Spanish, there was a translator. But after they talked to him and everything, they were thinking, if this guy gets more consistent, he's MVP because he plays every day. He had 600 plus at bats last year.
He's played. I think he's missed 2 games in the last 3 years.
Yeah, he's something else. He's a great player. I'd love to have him on my team.
He's a Gold Glover, and now obviously with the offense, so he's definitely a candidate to watch. He's not my breakout candidate for MVP on this team, which we'll get to in a moment. But moving on to second base, we got Santiago Espinal, who hit 267 last year.
Yeah, is he going to play the position, or is Whit Merrifield? Or they?
So I'm seeing here, it looks like Whit Merrifield, they might have him as a utility guy. I know in Kansas City last year, they moved him a lot to the outfield. He should not have played the outfield last year. He looked not good, and maybe it affected his offense a little bit. Maybe it was messing with his mind because his offense, Whit Merrifield's here. Last year he was here, and his offense.
He's an older ball player too. He came up late.
How many seasons has Whit?
I know he did. He didn't come up at 21. He was like 26 or 27, somewhere in the neighborhood when he came up. So
I've heard some rumors about Whit too, not being the most friendly guy in the world.
Really?
From some very very good sources within the organization there with the Royals.
Well, that's a shame. Always like to watch him, and he could steal a base, boy. I don't know if he's going to more.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, he's going to be 34. And last year, how many stolen bases would you say you think he got last year? Well, before you think he got 20. Well, let's just say last year or 2 years ago in 21, he stole 40 bases. Last year in 44 games with Toronto, he stole 1 base.
Well, maybe that's the system.
And he sold 15 with the Royals in 95 games. So he only sold 16 bases last year. Massive drop off. But if you look at his numbers, when he broke into the league, he was hitting 283, 288, 304, 302. Every year he's consistently one of the top guys. He'd had 190 to 200 hits. And then last year, he bottomed out. He had 250. Although, when he got traded, he increased his batting average 41 points.
Yeah.
So that really took a big uptick
He
for
still
him.
ended up at like
I don't
250, I think,
necessarily
right?
250 exactly. No power really. You don't expect much power. Had decent RBI output for that.
But you mentioned
But
Espinal,
with
and he got 400 some at bats. But were they all at second, or did he move around?
that's a good question, and I don't know the answer off the top of my head.
Let's see. But I know, and you got Biggio, but I think he even got some outfield time. But Biggio let's just say he and his dad.
You don't think he's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he's not the hitter. He's not consistent. I mean, I've seen games where he looks pretty good, and then he can't find a spot for him really. But then but you go to third, and you got Chapman.
Got Matt Chapman, who hit
one of the best fielders. I've heard him called the best fielder at any position in baseball. And I've seen numerous games when he was on Oakland. I thought it was Brooks Robinson out there. The guy is amazing. He had some.
So you think he's a better fielder than Arenado?
He's right there, guarantee it, defensively. Now, offensively is a whole nother ballgame because he's got a little bit of pop, but he doesn't hit for much.
Yeah, he's a 3-time Gold Glove winner. His batting average went up last year to 229, so it tells you how bad of a hitter he is.
Yeah.
At third base, you need offensive production, and he's not giving it to you. I think that's more of a liability.
Well, he gives you the power. He only drove in 76 runs. They had, I think, 27 home runs.
27 homers 2 years in a row.
I think with, in years going by, lots of times teams would carry a weak hitting shortstop if he was a good defender. So if you still use that philosophy, you got Bichette, who's an above average hitter at short. You could basically say they switch, because Chapman's defense is I don't know what his defensive runs against saved runs is, but I imagine it's pretty darn good. Look here, his WAR was 4.1 last year. So and Chad was only 4.5.
Yeah,
wins against replacement.
Well, speaking of Bichette, let's go ahead and move to shortstop. We got Bo Bichette, who hit 290 last year. It's one of my dark horses early watch list for AL MVP.
Average or below average fielder, but offensively, he's good. I mean, but
offense is the name of the game.
I've seen an interview with him also, and he's talking about he's working on all phases of his game. He's just going to get better all the way around. I'm not too worried about his defense, honestly. I think.
Yeah, I expect big things out of Bo this year. But we'll go straight to the outfield now. We'll have George Springer, Kevin Kiermaier, and Dalton Varsho. We spoke a little bit about Varsho. And Kiermaier is more of the superstar fielder defender. Offensively, big downturn last year for him. But I think it's a good veteran leadership move for him to put him out there. George Springer.
Right, and then move Springer to right.
Yeah, well, I see they're saying left for Springer and Varsho right.
I'm hearing the opposite, actually. But they're going to be somewhere in the outfield.
Yeah, they're going to be corner outfielders. We know that.
I'm a Springer fan. He does everything, plays hard. He's got power.
Yeah.
He hits. He's got speed. He's a leadoff hitter. I like Springer. I liked him. I seen him in his rookie season when I was in Houston, and I was impressed right off the bat with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, speaking on Springer, I know he had a scary injury. It wasn't in the playoffs last year, so but he's full go in spring. Their outfield is. Springer's the leading hitter out there. He only hit 267 last year, which I guess in today's baseball world is pretty average. Probably a little bit above average, honestly. But then we'll go to their DH, and we have Brandon Belt, who hit 213 last year, which is horrible. He's a backup first baseman as well for him. He was looking very goofy to me when he wears, I don't know, just something about him.
Maybe it was a Giants uniform. Maybe you don't like teams with black and orange.
Did they wear stirrups in San Francisco?
I don't remember. I've watched him. I
I don't
like
know,
the.
but I always felt like he would wear stirrups. He just looked like a odd
I
human
kind
being
of
to
like the
me.
Giants, actually. Um, you know,
Well, hey, save this conversation about the Giants for, I guess, sometime in a week or two.
right.
But yeah, Brandon Bell, you're not going to get much there. We're veterans who knows how to win, so that might be something a good leader maybe teach some of the younger guys how to really grind it out in the playoffs, especially. Um, but that's pretty much the start line of what we're seeing. Breaking them down as well, we can really go ahead and touch on their farm system here real quick. I know their farm system is not the highest ranked farm system in the league. I'm seeing my sources in their very bottom half of 21st,
Well,
actually.
I've seen an article. They're talking about Ricky Tiedemann, a left-handed pitcher,
Mm-hmm.
big fastball. His fastball gets a lot of weak swings. But what I heard in
Yep.
his changeup, he's got a good changeup slider he's working on, they say. But I read that they said he make the rotation. I don't see it right now because I think he topped out at Double-A, and they still have
Yeah.
Nate Pearson. Remember Nate Pearson came up a few years ago, big boy, hard thrower, and just hadn't happened yet.
Yep.
So I mean, you still they got a few guys. They got
But I'm looking at their prospect list
how
right
about
now.
Orvelis Martinez?
You got him. He's touched the bigs. You got Yosver Zuleta, maybe a right-handed pitcher. He's touched the bigs. He's 25 though, so it's really it's time for him. Then after him, you got Tucker Toman, who's in rookie ball. Sim Reverse, who's in Double-A. Cade Doughty, and it just goes down from there. They're not. They're a young team now, so a lot of the
Well, their
prospects
pick
are
last
graduated.
year is supposed to be pretty good. At Brandon Barrera, pitcher,
Yeah,
left-handed pitcher,
yeah,
big velocity. It says his control and his command are iffy, so he's got a ways to go.
yeah. But yeah, that kind of gives us a nice little breakdown of the Blue Jays here. We can go to our projections really fast for them. I do have them finishing second this year at 89 and 73. I do think there's a good young talent on there with some good veteran leadership. The back end might have a little iffy, but they have a great bullpen and a great first couple starters in there. As far as the playoffs, I do have them falling in the wild card round to the Baltimore Orioles. Two young teams facing off. They always get revenge for the 2016 playoffs. But yeah, that's what my thoughts on the Blue Jays. And John, if you'd like to have any wrap up thoughts.
I wanted to touch on Schneider because they were roughly a 500 team when he took over, and then he pushed them on into the playoffs. What I'm hearing is his main thing is he appeals to the young players. They got a lot of young players, and he's been with most of them in the farm system, so that seems to work. But sometimes that may change as they get older. Now, didn't I see where they just signed the Houston general manager? Like within the last week or two? Can you look that up while I'm on the show? Because that's a big deal. Was his name? Was it Click? Let's see. I hate to pause like this, but that's a major thing,
Yeah. Hopefully my internet works nice here to
Jim
break
Click.
down our video.
Jim Click. He was. Well, it seems like whoever's in Houston seems to do a good job. But yeah, I'm hearing he ended up in Toronto. Yeah. If you can verify that, Jim Click.
Yeah. But yeah, give us a sign off or any closing thoughts in here. And one thing I like to say before we go that today's episode is our number one sponsor so far is Jane's Creations. You can go on our website, go to search Facebook for Jane's Creations for any custom reads, custom blankets, anything like that. But yeah, John, I'll let you give us a closing
all
argument.
Right, that's all for now, folks. We'll see you next time on Brooks Knows Baseball. Good night.
Good night.